Xi's fate sealed? Zhang Youxia hits breaking point, full-scale attack plan exposed. Yang Lanlan crash exposes CCP's money pipeline and Australia's economic colony reality. It's all covered in today's China Unfiltered. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us. Xi's fate sealed? Zhang Youxia hits breaking point, full-scale attack plan exposed. In recent days, credible sources say China's political elders and senior general Zhang Youxia have run out of patience with Xi Jinping's endless reversals. Xi had once agreed to step down gracefully, keeping a token post as part of a face-saving deal. Now insiders say he has reneged, refusing to leave voluntarily. For Zhang Youxia, that was the breaking point, and it triggered a series of decisive military deployments. Former PLA Naval Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Yao Cheng revealed on social media that the military's countdown to action has already begun. The September 3rd parade, he said, will not just be a national spectacle. It will be Xi's final moment of glory. Zhang's forces are in position, ready to move the moment the parade ends. The first step, the 82nd Group Army's Heavy Armored Brigade, is now in Changping, while the 196th Brigade occupies Fengtai, forming a north-south pincer aimed at Beijing. Additional units are spread across Gaobeidian, Shijiazhuang, and Handan, creating a multi-layered encirclement of the capital. The second, the 82nd's elite Sharp Arrow Special Forces have taken over security in Beidaihe, replacing the Central Guard Bureau and police who traditionally guarded the resort. This is a total military takeover of Beidaihe's defenses. Yao explained that while the parade will appear to the public as a grand celebration, its real meaning is far more pointed. It may be Xi's last time reviewing troops from Tiananmen. Allowing him to preside is deliberate, a controlled farewell wrapped in ceremony, not the spark for open conflict. Moving before the parade would look like a coup to the world, risking diplomatic, economic, and credibility disaster. It's also psychological warfare. Letting Xi lead the parade lulls his loyalists into complacency, preventing them from redeploying personnel or building resistance before the operation begins. Signs of the plan are already visible. Reports say Beijing's Third Ring Road will be under lockdown for 2 full weeks, far longer than the usual 2 or 3 days for parade security. Such an extended measure looks less like routine preparation and more like a military maneuver to pressure the top leadership into concessions. Once the parade ends, the struggle enters its final phase. If Xi refuses to step down, he could be forced out. If he resists, he could be marched out in handcuffs. The sheer scale of troops and equipment at the event means any on-site political clash could spiral out of control. That's why the military has timed its move for after the parade, when tensions ease and media focus shifts, lowering the risk of international blowback. Tolerance for Xi's volatility has collapsed across factions. Even Zheng Qinghong, a Jiang faction heavyweight who once backed Xi, is now keeping his distance. Commentator Tang Jingyuan says multiple sources confirm Xi's repeated reversals, agreeing to go, then reneging, have exasperated all sides. The stakes are highest for Zhang Youxia. The outcome of the Beidaihe meeting will determine not only his fate, but also that of Liu Yuan, a high-ranking military figure and Zhang's key ally, and numerous officers loyal to them. 4 major factions are maneuvering for advantage, but the military is the true kingmaker. Other elders, whether Hu Jintao's party preservation camp or Wen Jiabao's reformists, can retreat to safety regardless of the result. Zhang cannot. Failure means death without burial. For him, removing Xi is a matter of survival. Xi's only remaining leverage is the threat of the CCP's collapse. Hu and Zheng want to preserve the party, and Xi has weaponized that desire, framing his rule as essential to saving the party. But that argument is wearing thin, and time is running out. Then came an even more explosive twist. According to commentator Li Muyang, an online rumor claims Han Ximen, director of the Office of the State President, has been arrested. The claim is unconfirmed, but if true, it would be a political earthquake. Who is Han Ximen? As head of the president's office, he schedules Xi's meetings, controls the documents reaching his desk, coordinates with the Central Guard Bureau, Foreign Ministry, and CMC General Office, and manages classified communications. Every piece of state business Xi learns about flows through Han, and every order Xi gives flows out the same way. Han is Xi's personal lifeline to the outside world. If that lifeline has been severed, Xi's communications would be monitored, intercepted, or blocked entirely. He could remain in his Zhongnanhai office but be politically and operationally cut off, effectively neutralized. Real control over external affairs would shift to Zhang Youxia and senior elders like Wen Jiabao. Yao Cheng says that after Zhang Youxia oversaw the arrests of Xi loyalists Miaohua and Heweidong last year, the Beijing garrison was placed under direct CMC command and is now managed by Zhang himself. Meanwhile, the 82nd Group Army's Sharp Arrow Brigade has fully taken over Beidaihe security, replacing the Central Guard Bureau entirely, a show of force designed to leave Xi with only one choice: comply or be taken down. The pieces are in motion. The endgame may already be at the door. Yang Lanlan crash exposes CCP's money pipeline and Australia's economic colony reality. What began as a late-night drunk driving crash in Australia has spiraled into an international firestorm. The more details emerge, the clearer it becomes. Yang Lanlan's identity is anything but ordinary. Commentator Li Myung points to a trail of suspicious moves that followed the July 27 incident. Just 9 days later, on August 5, Beijing abruptly lifted a 15-year ban on Australian Apple imports. 3 days after that, on August 8, the CCP extended a staggering $2 billion loan to Australia's mining industry. This is the same mining sector Beijing has spent years trying to choke, from coal import bans to constant trade disputes. Suddenly, it's showered with cash, like manna from heaven. Why? Who could compel Beijing to make such a dramatic reversal in days? Certainly not an ordinary official, perhaps not even a provincial leader. A drunk driving crash that leaves someone gravely injured should be a private legal matter. Instead, the CCP has turned it into a state affair, buying Australia's silence with trade concessions and massive loans to keep Yang Lanlan's name out of the headlines. Former insider legal expert Du Wen, versed in US, UK, French, and Australian law, calls Canberra's secrecy highly abnormal. He notes the court's behavior violates the norms of common law, defies Australia's judicial standards, and even breaches its constitution. The only plausible explanation, Du says, is that a national-level special prohibition order was issued, the kind that can close proceedings, conceal identities, or ban information only in rare, legally authorized situations. Those exceptions? Child protection, sexual offenses, national security, key witness safety, major undercover work, mental health, or domestic violence. In Yang Lanlan's case, Du sees only one fit: national security, which means, in effect, that the court is telling the world this crash involves Australia's national security, and that Yang's identity is extraordinarily sensitive. The special treatment doesn't end there. Yang refused a police alcohol test, walked out of the station without paying a cent, and didn't post bail. No bail? No conditions? That's not release pending trial. That's walking free as if nothing happened. How many in the CCP elite could crash a car drunk, seriously injure someone, refuse testing, and still be released without charge? Whose child could be special enough to trigger national security protections in another country? Du's answer is blunt. Apart from Xi Jinping, no one. He suggests this may be a symptom of the brutal power struggles in Zhongnanhai, with some factions working feverishly to expose Yang, others scrambling to bury the story, and still others killing with a borrowed knife to deal Xi a crippling political blow. And then there's the money trail. Yang's Rolls-Royce and her prime Sydney Harbourview mansion aren't in her name at all. The luxury car is registered to a Panama-based shell company, Ventra Global. The mansion, in Walker Ridge, one of Sydney's most coveted ocean view neighborhoods, is held in the name of a trust. Her identity is nowhere on paper. Her assets vanish behind corporate veils. It's a textbook lesson in invisibility. According to the Vision Times, Hong Kong journalist and commentator Chip Tsao sees the crash involving Chinese-Australian woman Yang Lanlan and her multi-million-dollar Rolls-Royce as far more than an isolated traffic incident. In his view, It is a vivid illustration of the CCP's overseas wealth infiltration and the systemic vulnerabilities of Western institutions. A warning sign that Australia is sliding toward becoming an economic colony of China. Political infiltration, the iron ore black hole. Cao argues that Yang Lanlan's fortune may be linked to one of the most lucrative and opaque sectors connecting Australia and China, the iron ore trade. Australia supplies roughly one-third of China's iron ore each year, in a trade worth an astonishing AUD 170 billion annually. In an industry of this size, there is ample room for shadow deals and hidden transfers of benefits. He suggests that Yang may have operated in these gray zones, exploiting insider channels and political connections to siphon off huge profits, a window into how the CCP converts economic leverage abroad into political influence. A provocative claim, Australia as China's economic colony. Cao's assessment is blunt. Australia is another Cambodia, an economic and political colony of China in the South Pacific. He supports this with concrete data and examples. Population leverage, around 700,000 ethnic Chinese, about 5% of Australia's population, form a significant and influential community. Education dependence. Australian universities rely heavily on tuition from Chinese students, creating pressure to align with Beijing's positions on academic and speech issues. Cao cites the case of a Monash University professor who was fiercely attacked by Chinese students over a Taiwan map as evidence of such cultural pressure. Strategic port control. Darwin Port, a critical gateway, has been leased to China for 99 years. Cao compares this to the humiliating forced port leases of China's modern history, calling it a case of Australia inviting shame upon itself. Cao also stresses that it is impossible for the Australian government to be genuinely unaware of Yang Lanlan's identity or the origins of her wealth. What he describes as feigned ignorance and selective law enforcement, he argues, reflects political calculations and behind-the-scenes compromises. He said, at the heart of these compromises is the choice to put economic interests ahead of the rule of law. For Cao, the Yang Lanlan affair is not merely a personal scandal, it is a case study in how deeply the CCP has embedded itself in Australia's economy, politics, and institutions, and a stark reminder of how quickly Western democracies can bend when money talks. That's all for today's episode. If you found this story insightful, share your thoughts in the comment section and let us know what you think about the topic. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks for staying tuned. We'll see you next time.